Hey folks, welcome back. Thanks for visiting. And look what followed me home last week. So this was about a 2-hour ride to go get this. I'll explain why I bought it. We'll go around the tractor. I'll show you what it might need. But it was a nice ride. There was actually still a little bit of foliage in some places. So I took some video of my trip, my 2-hour trip to go get this. So I'll show you a few clips from my trip. And then we'll get into the tractor. Hang around. So what we have is a 1971 Massey Ferguson MF12. Now, I don't know a whole lot about these tractors. I always loved this style of Massey Ferguson tractors, the small garden tractors like this, and then the large tractors. I always loved that style. Now, the reason I bought this, I've been mowing my lawn with the GC2610. But it can be inconvenient at times because I've got to install the mowing deck, and then to mow, I like to remove the loader because that gets in the way. So I have to remove the loader, drop the roll bar, the ROPS, drop that. And then if I need the tractor for some other jobs around the property, then there are times I have to remove the mowing deck, put the loader back on, put the ROPS back up, so it just gets inconvenient. So I thought, well, why not get a little lawn tractor and use that. It doesn't cut quite as wide. That's a 60-inch deck. This is a 42-inch deck. So I was kind of looking for an old Massey Ferguson tractor to mow the lawn with. Now, it does need some work. Overall, the body's in nice shape, but the guy I bought it from told me that the spindle bearings are bad on the mowing deck, so I'm pretty sure I have to replace those. But we'll go around. I'll show you a few other things. So today's Saturday, November 1st. I bought this last Saturday, and I'm just getting around to looking at it. So it needed a battery, and it needed an ignition switch. The original, I'm guessing there was probably a keyed switch here, but there was an old switch just like this here that wasn't working. So I replaced the switch today, and I put a new battery in it. So now it works from the switch here. And you can hear the solenoid kicking in. So the day I went to look at it, it wouldn't start. It was cranking over. It would crank over for a couple of seconds and then kind of screech and stop. He did have a video on his ad for this. He did have a video where it was running. He said it ran, but it didn't start that day. He wasn't sure why. Then I realized when I got it home that the fuel was shut off. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it or not. So I put the battery in, put the switch in, was hoping for it to start. And the first time I pushed that new switch, the starter cranked over for a second and then disconnected and stopped. And it won't engage again. So I'm kind of thinking that it might need a starter. So I put my limited electrical knowledge to use. I was going to check the starter and pulled out my tester, and it didn't work. So I pulled out my antique tester, that was my father's, and that didn't work. So I've got to buy another tester. But I'm thinking it might need a starter, and that's about $50, and it looks like a pretty easy job to replace. So I'm going to order a starter for it. Probably take a few days to get, and then I'll work on that. So I've been going around this today looking at a few other things. Now, these are really questions for Noel at Noel's Garden, Tractors, and Firewood. This is right down his alley. And possibly Joseph and his father Ian at Garden Tractor Boy. I'm kind of following in their footsteps with this lawn tractor here. This is what they specialize in. So I really need their expertise. So let's take a look at one thing I found today. So this lever here, or lever, I'm guessing, and I think I asked the guy I bought this from, I think this is to engage the mowing deck. So I looked at that today, and let's see if I can get, I'm going to stop this and see if I can get some light on this. All right, so I've got some light. So I moved this lever, rod, whatever you want to call it, and I don't think it's, like I said, I think this engages the mowing deck, but you'll see there's really nothing at the end of this. Let's see if I can focus on this. Where is it? I forget where it is now. These wires are in the way. You can see right there is the end of the lever, and there's nothing there. So I'm thinking maybe the belt wraps around that, or that pushes on a belt or something, but there doesn't seem to be anything going on there. So advice is welcome. So that's one item. And then over here, this is to raise, I believe this is to raise and lower the mowing deck. And it won't move. So it looks like it's frozen in place. So I'm going to have to figure out what to do with that. Might need some oil. So that's a Garden Tractor Boy specialty right there. Right down his line of work. What else do I have? I haven't really dug into it completely, but let's just do a quick walk around. So the body, I believe that's the original engine. It's got, I believe, is the extended fuel tank there. So Noel, again at Noel's Garden, Tractors, and Firewood. I've been emailing with Noel, and he's been giving me some advice and whatnot. Noel said that was the extended, or the larger fuel tank right there. So let me close the hood. Take a look at it. I'm not sure about the seat. I'm guessing that's all not original. That's the least of my worries right now. This tire is going flat, so it'll probably need a tube. The others seem to be holding air. I do have the screen that goes over that. It's in there somewhere. I just tucked it in there so I don't lose it. It's got, I don't know if that's the original nose cone or whatever it's called there, the grill. It's all one piece, which is rare on these, from what I understand. It may be original, I don't know, but it's in good shape. I'm not quite sure yet how to remove that deck, but it can't be that difficult. Oh, the belts. The seller told me that he recently replaced the belts, but they're looking kind of they're not looking too good. He may have replaced them, but it looks like it sat for a while, so there's rust or something on them here. So I don't really know how good those are. They don't seem to be cracked or anything, so they might be okay, but I don't know yet. The deck model is MF610. Let's see what else. So there's the starter. So it looks like there are two bolts to take that out. The bolt right there and the other right there. I think those are the two bolts to remove the starter. Looks fairly easy, especially that bolt looks pretty easy. That one's probably a little more difficult to get to, but not real bad. There's a parking brake here, which really doesn't seem to do anything. It's pretty loose, so I haven't climbed underneath yet to see what that does. Let's see. Oh, this is to engage the tractor to move it forward or reverse. That's right. I forgot what that was. So that's to move the tractor, but it just doesn't seem, as I showed you, it doesn't seem to do anything. And then here is supposed to be the hood latch, but that's missing. All right, so on the dash here, here's the throttle. Oh, yeah, I've got to show something under the hood. So here's the throttle. I'm not even sure if that's engaging. We'll look under the hood, or under the bonnet for some of you. Choke here, the ignition switch, and then I'm not sure, what this switch does. I think the guy told me, but I don't remember now what that is. That might be a kill switch. Amp meter there. All right, so let's look under the hood, under the bonnet. For you, Joseph, under the bonnet. So I did find a loose wire. So down in here, if you see where we are, behind the dash panel and in front of or behind the fuel tank is this. And again, I'm not an electrical guy. I never really had the desire to learn anything about electricity. There's a regulator of some kind there. I'm not quite sure what that is. And you see this white, it doesn't want to focus, but that white wire comes off. And it's hard to see now as the battery's in the way. But this white wire loops around. You can see part of it there. And then it actually goes under the battery. I've got to pull that out. Comes up over here. So again, to get you oriented. Comes up over this way. And is disconnected. I'm not even sure where it goes. This is the amp meter here. That's that toggle switch. There's the ignition switch. So I don't know what this wire is for, but it's coming from whatever that is right there. Looks like a voltage regulator or something. I did have some knowledge about that kind of stuff, 50 years ago, but I just don't have the desire to mess around with that stuff, so I kind of forget, purposely forgot anything about electrical issues. So I don't know what that wire is, so there's some advice I would like to get. What else is there? I think that's about it. Oh, there's another lever back here, and Noel will probably know what this is. So let me look at the back end. We'll need another tail light piece here. But there is this lever right here. I think that engages the belt for the gearbox, the transmission. Now, I can't move that. And the seller very easily somehow pop that. I think it slides out this way. Slides out this way. And I don't know how to do it. Let me stop this and see if I can do it. All right. So I figured that out. You just got to push. See, it's latched right up in there. So I got to push it in and lift. It'll pop out. Like that. So I don't know, not quite sure what that does. I haven't followed the linkage, but I don't know if that's the parking brake or what. I don't know. I think I asked the guy, he told me it disengages the transmission or something. I forget. So that's probably a question for Noel. I think that's it, at least for now. Kind of disappointed I can't drop the deck. I'm hoping that's an easy solution. All right, so that's it for today. I'll bring you back in another week or so if I get it running. So for now, thanks, folks, and any help on some of these questions and issues is much appreciated. Thanks again.